All right, what's happening? What's happening, guys? It is Tuesday, December 14th, 2021. I'm coming to you a little early this morning because I got to take the kids to school because my wife is a little under the weather. So I got to help out this morning and take the kids to school. So we're here just about 12 minutes early this morning. But hopefully, you guys will jump on here and hang with me this morning. We're going to talk about just how some people have this approach that there's only one way to do things, right? And it is definitely not my way or the highway when it comes to anything, and it's not your way or the highway either, right? There's always a way to make every situation work, and I always like to say that the best deal is when everybody feels like they lose a little, right? And so um, that's what we're going to talk about this morning. Just some perspective around making decisions and how to kind of come to a conclusion that works for everybody. I think we need more of that in the world, and that's what we're going to cover this morning. Let's get started.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
All right, what's happening, guys? Sorry for popping on here a little early this morning and messing up our schedule, but I got to get the kids to school this morning. My wife's up in bed and she needs some rest, so I'm going to cover that for her and get rolling a little early here this morning with you guys so that I can still have time to get those kids to school on time. So, but this morning we're going to talk about, kind of how you come to a conclusion together. How do you make a deal together? How do you, make sure that when you're doing business or you're negotiating something in your life that everybody kind of feels good when everything's over, right? How do you come to the right deal, the right terms, the right agreement? And I think, one of the things that I run across quite a bit when you are doing business is that you run across every once in a while some people that think that it's their way or the highway, right? That they're really stuck in their ways of trying to do things the way that they're used to doing it, or things that are on their terms. And the perspective that I want to give you guys this morning is that the best deal is when everybody feels like they lose a little, right? When nobody walks away from the deal feeling like they just got over on somebody, because that is not good for business. It's not good for the future of a relationship. And if you're in a negotiation or you're in a deal with somebody that always has to win, that always has to have things their way, then that's probably a person you want to be hesitant to do business with, right? It's difficult to have a relationship that is one-sided. It is difficult to just kind of swallow your pride and go with someone else's idea, especially when that, there's some value in yours. This happens from time to time. And what ends up happening, guys, as a result, because I know that we've probably all given in or caved into, one of these types of negotiations. When you do that, when you allow it to be, 100% somebody else's way, or you're the person that's saying it's my way or the highway, I think, what ends up happening on the back end of that is that you build up resentment for that person. When you don't feel heard or you don't feel valued in a conversation, it is natural to build up resentment for somebody. And whether that's on the surface or whether it's subconscious is two different things. But it is natural to feel differently about someone when you don't feel like, negotiations are really worthwhile, because, this person's just telling you the same thing in a different way over and over and over again, right? And they're trying to get you to see things 100% their way. Now, with that said, there are scenarios where, things are brought to me as a leader, and they're not necessarily something that we can do. And so it's not, there's kind of always a perspective that you have to this scenario. But what I'm talking about is those people that, you may run across in business or in life that just want things their way, right? It's my way or the highway. And those are difficult relationships to maintain. And I think we've probably all had one or many of those in our lifetimes. And when you look at those relationships, it's just difficult to call them friendships. It's difficult to call them great business relationships. But what is easy to call a great business relationship is when two parties, really understand each other. They really, do a great job of expressing each other, and they come to a conclusion together that is enjoyable in the relationship. Right? It makes both parties feel like they have won a little and lost a little. Right? And so those business negotiations are always the best. Jeff Nelson, a good buddy of mine, a great friend, is on here. And Jeff's a guy who's a great example of how that works, of just, being open to everything, listening, and trying to make it feel like everybody can win in any business transaction. And those are the best case scenarios for us, in business, for all of us, is to have and find those relationships that are mutually beneficial, right? An example of a my way or the highway is when somebody, will go out and create a strategy for something, and they spend so much time on it that at the end of the day, they just are 100% confident that their way is right. And that's, it's kind of a natural feeling on their end too. But it does come with a lack of awareness of other things, of other factors, because they've spent so much time, trying to master the plan that they have or master the strategy that they have, and they might be missing things, right? And so I guess the simple message this morning is to, keep an open mind, right? Don't be that person that it is my way or the highway, because you just won't end up with a lot of relationships. You won't end up with a lot of long-term clients if you're in business. You won't end up with a really healthy marriage if it's always your way or the highway. That is in every single aspect of life. It is important to be flexible. It's important to be the person that really listens and values other people's opinions. And, throughout my career, there have been many, many times when, somebody was so passionate about something that couldn't have been more wrong. But as a leader, it is very, very important for us to allow people to speak, to allow people to feel heard and speak what they have to say, so that you can receive it. You can possibly give them some structured feedback around why you might disagree or why you believe you should go a different direction. But I think it is important for us to understand our position of, it is not our way or the highway. It is everybody's ideas that make the best solution. And so if we create a culture, if we create an environment where everybody feels heard, where everybody feels like their opinion matters, where everybody feels valued, then we end up with the best solution, and we end up going way faster in business. We have a better marriage. We have better relationships and friendships just by, kind of making everybody feel heard. And so I think it's really important for us to create environments where people feel like that, and when things might go a little off the rails when it comes to communication or situations, just make sure that, when you're having those conversations, that it's for the right reasons, that it's, an understanding between the two of you, that, there's not some, massive conflict or anger that comes from those scenarios. We're all human beings, and we all make mistakes. And we all get in situations that are difficult, and we don't always get it right. But when it comes to communication, Vicky just said it in the comments here. Communication is key in every relationship, right? The only way to truly have a firm grip on business is to be able to balance everything out by keeping an open mind. And that's 100% accurate. It is not just your way, and you don't understand what someone is going through at that particular moment that needs to feel heard, that needs to have you listen to what it is that they say. And it is so important for you to earn the respect of the people around you by making sure that it is not just your way or the highway. Because if you make it that way, if you build a culture that's that way, in business, you'll have massive turnover. You'll never have loyal employees. And if you do have people that stay for a long time, they're going to be talking about the fact that it's that way in behind closed doors quite a bit. And that creates a very, very toxic and negative culture and work environment for everybody to exist in. And so, just the point of this message, guys, is real simple. Have an open mind, listen. The best listeners are always the best leaders. And it is not what you know that matters until you are listening first. And what you might know, what you might be totally certain of, you have to be willing to listen first, and you have to be willing to stay calm, collect all the facts of the scenario, and then be able to give a structured and sensible response as to why you're going to do things a certain way. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys this morning. Just it's been on my heart. It's not, I see this, from time to time with the companies that I work with, people kind of getting in this, we don't have time to listen to everybody's opinions on something. And this time of year, when everybody's planning things out, it is that much more important for us to listen, to really listen, to understand, not to listen to respond, and to just be great communicators where, people feel heard, they feel seen, and they feel valued from the conversations that they're able to have with their leaders. And so hopefully you guys are working with people that make you feel that way. And if you're not, have a conversation about it, be willing to embrace the conflict that comes along with, sharing your feelings about something. Be respectful, check the emotions as much as you can. I know that takes some practice to do. But if you can check your emotions and you can just have real, raw, and honest conversations with someone, generally speaking, you're going to walk away from those conversations much better than you entered. And if you can't walk away from that situation feeling better than when you entered, that is, over a period of time, something you want to evaluate as to who you're working for, what kind of company you're working for, and how you feel about it. Doesn't make you wrong, them right and you wrong, or vice versa. Just means that maybe it's not a good fit, right? So just think about that. And for those of you who are out there in leadership or in some type of leadership role, if you have kids, you're in a leadership role, regardless of what your title is at work, just make sure it's not your way or the highway. And especially, in your family, with your children, in your business, all of those places require you to have an open mind and to listen, and to listen with care to those things that people have to say. It creates an incredible culture, an incredible work environment where people feel safe. They feel like they can speak and they can add value without having the concern of having somebody not listen to them. So that's the message for this morning, guys. If you guys are here late, sorry, man, you have to catch the replay. I got to run the kids to school this morning. So if you guys just jumped on here, I see a couple people that are normal faces thinking, what's going on, man? This is just supposed to be starting, but I got to run the kids to school this morning. So I had to jump on here a little bit early, but thank you guys, as always, for joining me. It means the world to me to spend this time with you. If you guys found this message to be valuable, please click the share episode link on Facebook or on the podcast, and just share it to one person that you think might benefit from these messages, and help somebody else start their day just a little bit better by getting some perspective in their life. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if